A tale of redemption unfolds as Mercedes, once stumbling in the shadows, finds its stride in a stunning turnaround. Acknowledging the faltering concept, Toto Wolff swiftly orchestrates a masterstroke, summoning the brilliant mind of James Allison to the helm. The impact is electrifying. At the Spanish GP, Mercedes roars back to life, clinching 2 coveted podium spots, trailing closely behind the indomitable Max Verstappen, who has reigned supreme this season. But the excitement doesn't end there, for whispers of imminent upgrades swirl through the paddock, promising a thrilling surge of power at the revered Silverstone circuit. Mercedes, the German car manufacturer, made significant progress at the Spanish Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell finished in second and third place respectively, with Max Verstappen taking the victory. The team introduced a redesigned car with new side pods, front suspension and floor, showcasing its potential to close the gap to Red Bull. However, team principal Toto Wolff believes it's crucial for the designers at Mercedes to carefully assess the current package and fully comprehend its capabilities before making further changes. While discussing the plans for improving the car's performance, Wolff acknowledged that the rapid implementation of upgrades raised some questions that needed to be addressed. He specifically pointed out that the team's commitment to deploying the changes quickly limited the opportunity for thorough analysis, which would typically be done with more regular updates. We just need to continue to grind away, because it's not so much about how quick it is, it's about how good our understanding is, he said. Wolff explained, "We've been rushing things over the last 2 months, and that worried us because it was a little bit circumventing the process, but so far it has paid off." Wolff also believes it would be a mistake for Mercedes to become complacent and assume that their performance in the Spanish Grand Prix guarantees their ability to surpass Red Bull. Although he feels the current situation is different from last year when progress in Barcelona didn't translate into subsequent races, he wants to avoid getting too carried away just yet. "We need to be realistic about our expectations," Wolff expressed. "We were disappointed in qualifying for the Spanish GP because we thought we could secure second and third place, but that didn't happen. So I don't want to go to Canada and assume we'll achieve another second or third, because it could easily turn into a fifth and sixth. There's still more for us to understand." Hamilton, on the other hand, is more confident that their performance in Spain truly reflects the current state of the Mercedes car, even though they still face strong competition from Aston Martin and Ferrari. "They usually say that if you're fast in Barcelona, your car should generally perform well everywhere, and I think we'll be strong in the upcoming races," Hamilton explained. "There may be instances where Aston Martin or Ferrari are slightly ahead, but I believe our race pace remains a strong suit, just as it was last year. Particularly this weekend, we've gained a better understanding of the car, so I think we can rely on that strength moving forward. We just need to elevate the overall performance of the car a bit more to close the gap with Red Bull." Mercedes, operating under a budget cap in Formula 1, has allocated a considerable amount of money to enhance their car, specifically focusing on the front suspension setup. This investment is seen as worthwhile by the trackside engineer director at Mercedes. He explains that developing the suspension is an expensive task in itself, and with a budget cap they have to carefully assess their situation in the championship. He doesn't anticipate making significant advancements due to financial limitations. However, Mercedes recognizes the potential for substantial development in this area. They're actively engaged in various programs and are exploring ways to integrate aerodynamics and vehicle dynamics effectively. The goal is to harmonize these aspects to function seamlessly as a unified package. Red Bull's team principal Christian Horner has acknowledged the financial commitment made by Mercedes for their car. He describes it as significant, but in his opinion, the performance gain achieved has been minimal. Horner points out that Mercedes essentially introduced an updated version of their car, which likely consumed a substantial portion of their development budget. He further compares the performance gap between Mercedes and Red Bull in Spain to the gap between two teams in Bahrain, indicating that the improvements made by Mercedes did not significantly impact the competitive landscape. George Russell has hinted that Mercedes fans can look forward to significant updates at the upcoming British Grand Prix in Silverstone. This exciting prospect follows a successful performance by the team in Spain. During the race in Barcelona, Mercedes showcased their progress, although team principal Toto Wolff acknowledged that the cool weather conditions played a role in maximizing the car's performance. Looking ahead, George Russell expressed his enthusiasm for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone and indicated that it could be an event worth watching. He suggested that Mercedes might introduce further updates early in July, which could put the team in a strong position to compete for a favorable outcome. George Russell has hinted that more upgrades could be in store for the Mercedes W14 engine. The previous updates had a tremendous impact on the team's success in Spain. Russell indicated that the team is still actively working on making significant changes to the W14, aiming to recover from a slower start to the 2023 season. He expressed confidence in their performance at Silverstone, expecting a strong fight for a favorable outcome. Russell suggested that there might be a couple more updates coming for the British Grand Prix. Despite acknowledging the impressive upgrades, Russell cautioned against getting too carried away with just one result. He praised the team for their exceptional work in introducing these improvements. He also recognized that the underperformance of Aston Martin and Ferrari in Barcelona played a part in Mercedes' success. This indicates the team's awareness of the importance of consistent progress and competitiveness. Mercedes has demonstrated its commitment to continuous improvement by deciding to change the design concept of the W14 following their sluggish start to the season. They are determined to address any weaknesses and reclaim their dominant form. The iconic Silverstone circuit holds special significance for both Russell and Hamilton, who will be eager to excel in front of their home crowd. The anticipation surrounding potential updates from Mercedes adds an extra layer of excitement to the event. If Mercedes wants to make a serious comeback, they might face questions about breaching the cost cap. However, they need to adapt quickly. Some might argue that luck played a role in their success at the Spanish GP, but luck alone doesn't secure a double podium. Despite Alonso's struggles, it's worth noting that Russell started 12th and finished 3rd. With better pit stop and tyre strategies, Mercedes could have potentially challenged for first place with Hamilton. By introducing significant new upgrades, Mercedes would be declaring war on Red Bull. Although Red Bull faced penalties for breaching the cost cap, the fines and restrictions didn't have a major impact, especially when they already have the fastest car on the grid. Personally, I believe Mercedes is moving in the right direction and should do everything possible to challenge Red Bull. It may be too late for this season, but preparing the car for next season is crucial. This would also be significant in persuading Hamilton to sign a new contract and pursue his goal of surpassing Schumacher's record with an 8th world title. Alonso is a prime example that age doesn't limit one's ability to compete for wins with a strong team. And speaking of Alonso and Aston Martin, the team was surprised to find themselves trailing behind Mercedes and struggling to match Ferrari's pace, despite usually being the second fastest car behind Red Bull in the early races of the season. Lance Stroll, a driver for Aston Martin, expressed his astonishment at the impressive pace of the Mercedes car, referring to it as a rocket ship. Stroll has expected his team to be the strongest after Red Bull based on their performance throughout the season. However, Aston Martin faced challenges in terms of degradation and struggled to keep up with the pace of Mercedes and Ferrari. Stroll acknowledged that Red Bull was in a league of their own and admitted that Aston Martin did not have the upper hand. The changes made to the Barcelona circuit, including the removal of the final chicane, affected Aston Martin's performance. The AMR23 excelled in slow-speed sections and major acceleration zones which were no longer present. Additionally, the faster final corner increased speeds onto the main straight, highlighting the draggy nature of Aston Martin's package. However, Stroll attributed the competitive gap to Mercedes to the management of Pirelli tires. He noted that Mercedes did an exceptional job of preserving their tires, while Aston Martin faced degradation issues. Despite initially maintaining a comfortable gap to Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton, Stroll felt the tires deteriorate after a few laps. What are your thoughts on this? Will Mercedes bring new upgrades for Silverstone? Let us know in the comments below.